crash are airplane accidents that occur on land, midair, or on sea. They are unfortunate events that lead to loss of lives, property, and livelihood. As hurtful as air crashes are, there are times when people do survive airplane crashes. Air crash survivors are faced with many pressing needs. This includes food, water, medical first aid, recovery of loss of essential material needs to help rebuild their lives, etc. Towards recovery of financial loss, here is an Instagram-based digital product that will be useful for a very long time. Click the link in the description box below on this recovery journey. Mr. Beast's I Survived a Plane Crash got me online to search out what plane crash survivors are entitled to. From hopes and fear, H&F Weekly, http://www.hopesandfears.com, and online reports. Here are the things I discovered. Hopes and Fears answers questions with the help of people who know their shit. Excuse that word. Today, we morbidly wondered, do you get anything if you survive a plane crash? The National Institute for Mental Health says the fear of flying, usually called aviophobia, affects approximately 20 million people. According to a 2014 ICAO safety report, by way, ICAO is acronym for International Civil Aviation Organization, if I'm right, the total number of plane accidents in the year 2013 was 90 worldwide, with 9 involving fatalities. That's so bad. So, air crashes do happen. It is a terrifying prospect. We wondered about the more practical aspects of this fear. What happens if you die? What can your family recover? What happens if you survive? What are you entitled to? Most airlines have strict regulations about the information they are willing to give out as it pertains to aviation disasters. A few lawyers, a former flight attendant, and 2 air crash survivors were more than happy to tell us what they knew about the grim subject. David Anthony Parker, Associate Attorney at the Law Office of Valentine J. Temolsky in St. Clair Shores, responded thus: "This is dependent on how the crash occurs. There are many determinations that need to be made in order for a survivor or for a dissident's family member or estate to recover in the event of a plane crash. There are a myriad of reasons why a plane could crash. Some include pilot error, mechanical failure, air traffic control errors, design flaws, and even something as weird as a bird flying into the jet engine, as was the case in the miracle landing of pilot Chesley Sullenberger when they landed in the Hudson River right outside of New York City in 2009. There are typically types of damages a survivor or an estate family member of a decedent can claim. 1. Pecuniary or economic damages, and the second, non-pecuniary, that is non-economic damages. A moment please. In pecuniary damages, this enables medical treatment, loss of income, and survival benefits to the injured or deceased family. That is, head of the household gets injured or killed and is responsible for securing income for household that may be recoverable for the family. Non-pecuniary damages are largely called damages for pains and suffering. This can be allocated to family members of the deceased for their pain and suffering for losing a loved one. Some states in the USA allow for pre-impact pain and suffering for the actual individual in the crash, which are damages awarded for the person before the plane actually crashes. We can all imagine the panic and how terrifying it would be on a plane that was going down, and some states feel that is what damages being awarded to the airline patron. Some states have put a damage cap or limit on pecuniary damages to limit liability for airliners and only allow for a maximum recovery of $250,000 or $500,000 for an estate. Plane crash cases are investigation leading, as there is so much data to collect to show how the plane actually crashed in order to determine whose fault it was, whether pilot error, manufacturer of parts error, and so forth. There can be apportionment of faults. For instance, an airline is at 40% fault for not taking care of a faulty part or improper inspection. The manufacturer is at 60% fault for the actual production of faulty parts as determined by investigations. The verdict settlements will be determined in the same percentage as the fault is apportioned. For example, a $1 million settlement to a passenger in the scenario above, the airline will pay out $400,000 and the manufacturer will pay out $600,000 to the same passenger. Litigation for plane crash victims and their avenues for recovery is sadly usually lengthy, and some cases can take upwards of 5 years or even more before the sides come to a settlement. Food for thought: would you, as a survivor or someone helping a survivor suffering some harm from loss of income, wait on a litigation's outcome for years to move on with your life? To help ease such associated pain, click on the link here in blue for a copy of how to earn $80,000 per year from your Instagram account. It has 97% success rates. Hattie Dressner, Detroit-based artist and survivor of a traumatic aviation experience. Listen to what she has to say. Last December, my plane to Fort Lauderdale caught fire shortly after takeoff from Detroit. After we hit cruising altitude, a strange toxic scent filled the cabin. Within moments of noticing the smell, black smoke engulfed the plane. The emergency lights came on, but the oxygen masks did not drop. We needed to do an emergency landing, and luckily we were within range of a commuter airport in Toledo. We waited for nearly 45 minutes on the plane while firemen cleared the area for our exit. We were told a replacement plane would be coming, but there was no telling when. In the terminal, we had access to limited power outlets, one unisex toilet, and a non-working vending machine. After speaking with airline representatives on the phone, I was informed that I could find my own transportation and forfeit my ticket or wait for the replacement plane. They told me that I would not be reimbursed for this extremely traumatic experience, but that I could try to speak with another representative the following morning. We were stranded in this abandoned terminal for nearly 7 hours. Eventually, someone showed up with a box of potato chips and said we each could take one bag. Every time I tried to contact the airline after this flight, they apologized for the inconvenience but insisted that they would do nothing to compensate my losses, including the cost of a missed night in a hotel, a prearranged car service, and my missed obligations that I was traveling to. Click on the link here for a copy of how to earn $80,000 per year from your Instagram account. Another survivor, David McConnell, survivor of 1999 plane crash in Hong Kong during a typhoon. His experience is this, as he recounted. In terms of compensation, they gave $5,000 to cover damages, replacement of passport, and anguish, nothing more. So food for thought. Compensate yourself in life's economic situation. Click on the link here in the description box for a copy of how to earn $80,000 per year from your Instagram account. It has 97% success rates. Another attorney, Paul J. Hanley Jr., partner at Simons Hanley LLC. The rights of passengers who survive airline crashes are governed by a large number of varying statutes, common law principles, international treaties, and international conventions. The question of what rights a survivor has is determined in part by reference to the place of the crash, identity of the airline, for example, if it is owned by the government or private ownership, and conduct of the operators of the aircraft. Generally speaking, a survivor has many rights, but the size of damages awards is only dependent on the answers to the questions raised above, as well as whether the passengers survived or died in the crash. Airlines are not to let off the hook because of the terms of the contract of passage contained within the airline tickets. The best scenario is in terms of recovery of damages is on behalf of a passenger injured or killed flying domestically as opposed to internationally. Here is another contribution from an anonymous former flight attendant who operated or served in the American Airlines. Plane crash survivors on American, that is American Airlines, at least almost always automatically get $10,000. A word of thought-provoking expressions here. No sane person wish for air crash, let alone a compensation therefrom. Several of life challenges present anguish as in air crash situation. Get the digital products in the given link here to prepare and rise to your financial freedom through Instagram on your mobile phone or laptop now. Yes, you can.